Hi, my lovely people. I'm Faith Williams, an affiliate of Vida Divina, an all-natural organic marketing company, aiming for better health, strong immune system, better sleep, more stamina, more energy. Visit the website Healthy Faith JA, HEALTHYFAITHJA at vidadivina.com or direct message me at 876-334-2674. For better health, go the Vida way.
Hello there, everyone. I am Counselor Menge Hylton. I'm an associate counseling psychologist, a parent mentor, and the author of the book, Directing Your Arrows, a strategic approach to successful parenting. Best of all, I am a life that has been changed and continues to be transformed by the love of God and the finished work of His Son Jesus. Over the next few weeks, for the month of May, we will be taking a journey together as we discuss how to parent intentionally in this age and in this season. Today, we are laying the foundation by exploring what it means to be an intentional parent and how this approach can positively impact our children. You know, as I am about to start this journey, I can't help but reflect on my childhood. When I was a child, life was about playing and learning as I played. There was a lot of reading because my mother was a teacher, so the whole house was filled with books. And life was also about family and learning to read, getting my schoolwork done, of course, and all the benefits of being raised in a rural Caribbean community. And I'm sure if I have any listeners from the Caribbean, you can identify with that. So my childhood was nice. My childhood was great. My distractions as a child were minimal. I mean, we had television, but the television only had 2 channels. I had my pets, a dog and a few cats. That was it. Basically, those were the distractions. And the fact that I enjoyed the outdoors. So there were times when I would just want to be outside, climb an orange tree if I could, pick a few guavas, and just enjoy life. Fast forward to today, and childhood for many of our children is nothing like what I just described, or nothing like what we as adults experienced as children, because life evolves and life changes. Today, the distractions are numerous for our children. The lines of values have been blurred. They are being told it's whatever you like that you must do. And so the negative influences in our world come at them from all angles. They are not as secure as we were. And because these distractions are coming and these negative influences, parents find themselves in what I call a battle for the destinies of their children. This is why we must be intentional in how we parent. The enemy, the devil, is intentional about going after our children. We cannot afford not to be intentional and deliberate in how we carry out our roles as parents. the hope that I hold on to is that when we look in the Bible, there are many men and women of God who we sometimes refer to as heroes, who also grew in a hostile, depraved environment, but the purpose of God for their lives was not aborted. And I'm sure that every parent who is listening to me today, that's your desire for your child, that the purpose of God for them will not be aborted. And so I'm going to read a section from my book, just a little excerpt, which I think captures where my heart is regarding this topic. Today it appears that many Christians are the most nonchalant about deliberately teaching our children what we believe. Most Christians leave things to chance when it comes to their children and their spiritual walk. We send them to church, hand them over to children's ministry or youth ministry, while we sit back and hope and pray and sometimes even fast that they will grow into passionate, purposeful lovers of God. While we relax, though, the enemy of our souls has orchestrated and intensified his efforts in flooding our children's minds with everything anti-God to make Christianity appear irrelevant and lifeless. He works through the media, the internet, books, friends, and I dare say even some teachers and people of influence. If our children have no value base from home, they are like unarmored civilians in the middle of a fierce and bitter battlefield, exposed and vulnerable. We, therefore, must change our attitude, and we must deliberately empower them for the life that they are engaged in. It is high time to awake and get purposefully active about sowing the right seeds according to the fruit we hope to see in our children and the destiny we believe God has for them. And so today, we really want to just lay the foundation for this journey of intentional parenting. And so I'm going to talk about 5 points quickly. Won't be staying long on each, that I believe can lay the foundation for where we will go over the next couple of weeks. So there are some things we need to understand. The first one is that your child is a gift. And if you are anywhere near to any of your children, I want you to look at that child and remember, just say to yourself, my child is a gift. Psalm 127 verse 3 says, lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. If you are hearing me today and you have brought a child into the world, you have fathered a child, you've mothered a child, even if this child is not your biological offspring, I want you to understand that the child or your children are gifts from the Lord. Now, if I get a gift from a king, if I get a gift from God, I'm going to see that gift as valuable. All right? So that's the first thing you need to understand. There are many persons today who wish they could have children or wish they had the opportunity to pour into a life as a parent, and they have not received that. For you to have been given that opportunity is evidence enough that your child is a gift. And as of today, if you've not been treating that child like a gift, I want you to start to treat that child as a gift. All right? And the source of the gift is important. So the Bible says that the fruit of the womb is a reward from God. Secondly, parents are stewards of the gifts they receive. So if you have children, the children are your gifts, and you are a steward of those gifts. A steward is someone who is given responsibility for the management of someone else's property. Your children first belong to God, and you are given the task of managing or parenting them. How you handle your gifts will have generational effects, so you must handle with care. This means purposefully and strategically managing your children as treasures, though yet unlocked, but assigned to you by the King, because that is what they are, God's gifts to you. So you're a steward. They belong to God first. I say to persons all the time, your child is a God idea in living color. God doesn't waste time. He doesn't create human beings just for creating sake. Your child has purpose wrapped inside him or her, and God has selected you to manage that gift, to manage the child that he's given you. Don't take it lightly. All right? Do not take it lightly. Now, many times when we hear that, we begin to think, oh my God, this is a big deal. Yes, it's a big deal. And you may be thinking, I can't handle this. I remember the first time I held my daughter, my first child. There was this overwhelming feeling of joy because I had waited and prayed for years, and finally I was holding my baby. It was a moment I can't forget. But mixed with that joy was a feeling of apprehension. Do I have what it takes to give this baby all that she needs to become all that she's meant to become? And so I know that parenting can be a daunting role. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel like it's heavy. And yes, it is not easy. But guess what? Listen to my third point now, people. Parenting is a journey. It's a learning process. It is a journey of discovery. And because of that, I think parenting is exciting. You can talk to 20 parents in one room, and even though they may have experiences that may be a bit similar, you'll never find two parents who have the exact same experience. It's a dynamic journey. It is a journey that every day brings something new with it. And so I don't want you to get overwhelmed, even though the truth is you have a responsibility that I will not make you take lightly. But at the same time, there are too many parents who are working so hard at being the perfect parent that they miss the journey altogether. They are working so hard at getting it right that they miss the journey altogether. I don't want you to miss it. There's a lot of fun in there. There are a lot of memories that are created. You can learn so much from your children, right? And we'll touch on those as we go along. So our third point is that raising children, parenting, is a learning process. So don't be too hard on yourself. You're going to make mistakes because you're not perfect, all right? You are going to not get everything right because you are human. But I want you on your way to the destination of looking at your children and feeling proud of who they have become. On your way to that destination, enjoy the journey. Our fourth point today: know your hindrances to embracing this call to parenting. And I call it a call because I believe that's what it is. I believe that my children are destined to be mine. I was selected to be their mother. They were selected to be my children. And so when you have a child under your care, you are called to it. And I want us to begin to see it that way. But there are some hindrances, some things that can hinder us from fully taking on this role as a parent. And I believe I just want to mention them today quickly. I have 4 that I have highlighted in the book. The first one is feeling incapable, and I touched on that just now. Feeling that you don't have what it takes. And so as parents, we have to manage our self-talk. Self-talk is a conversation you have with yourself almost all the time. What are you saying to yourself about yourself as a parent? Okay? Remember, the Bible says in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So you have to, I want you for the next 7 days to monitor your thoughts. What are you thinking about yourself as a parent? All right? Because if you're having mostly negative thoughts, like I am no good at being a father, or my kids hate me, or I don't have a clue what to do, then it means that you will not be able to fully embrace your role because you don't think you're capable. The second hindrance is busyness, being too busy, trying to get things the way you want them to be so that you have no time for your children. And I'm going to dedicate 1 week just to that, so I won't labor on that. But being too busy can hinder you from embracing your call. Having a wrong focus, only being focused on what society says is success, can cause you not to parent as well as you should. And then I have learned behavior. And I think this is very important. Are you just basically running in autopilot and parenting your children the way you were parented? Many of us do that. Oh, that's how my mommy used to do it. Oh, that's what my grandmother did when I was a child. We have to be deliberate. Because your parents did it doesn't mean that it's right fit for your child. Okay? And so you have to do some reflection this week to see if you're operating the way you do as a parent just based on what you experienced as a child. Your child is unique, and not all the methods that work with you will work with him or her. All right? So we parent our children and we ask God for wisdom. James 1:5 says, if any man needs wisdom, let him ask of God, and he will give it to him. He will not rebuke you for asking. All right? So the 4 hindrances: feeling incapable, being too busy, parenting in autopilot based on how we were raised, and having a wrong focus. So far, we have said we are laying a foundation for the next 5 weeks of intentional parenting. And we said, number 1, your child is a gift from God. Number 2, you're a steward of the gift God has given you. Number 3, parenting is a journey of discovery. It's a learning process, and we should enjoy the journey. Number 4, know your hindrances to embracing your role as a parent. And the last point is affirm yourself. I'm big on affirmations. And why am I big on affirmations? Many times if we're to sit around and wait for somebody to affirm us, we'll never get it. So we have to learn the art of affirming ourselves. So I want to challenge you to affirm yourself, to say positive statements to yourself about how you are parenting and the kind of parent that you are. Practice saying your affirmation each morning and throughout the day. And at the end of the day, instead of thinking, what have I done wrong? How about thinking, what were my wins today? So I'm going to read 2 affirmations from my book, and I want you to Try to create some for yourself this week. I am not perfect, but I love my child and I give my best for his good. I have been chosen by God to parent my child and I will do well. I have the ability to be a good mother for my child. God is the source of my wisdom and strength as a parent. I embrace my call to parenting and I will pursue mastery. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I choose to think positive thoughts about myself and about my child. I want to thank you for spending these few minutes with me this week as we lay the foundation for the next few weeks of intentional parenting. Write down in your journal, if you have one, what were your greatest takeaways from today's session? I look forward to continuing this journey next week, same place, same time. And I declare over you that the God of all wisdom will give you all that you need to impact your children and influence generations. God bless you. See you next week.
Script of Virtue Collections. We sell journals, planners, children and adult books, inspirational books, educational books. Our extra service includes song blogging, music, career counseling, advertisement, promotion, graphic designing, CD covers, book covers. For more information, contact us at 1-876-546-4158 or email us at scriptofvirtuecollections@gmail.com, or you can visit us at facebook.com Script of Virtue Collections.
We are back in the Lady Tracey Show, and of course our radio interview, my people. As you know, we're in our youth month and we are here with beautiful lineups of authors, entrepreneurs, and of course let's see what else. So we have a lovely lady today. She is indeed out of USA and she's here with her beautiful book to share. But before we go any further, we want to welcome her and hear for ourselves. Bussell, welcome to the Lady Tracey Show. How are you doing today?
Thank you for that warm welcome, Miss Tracey. I'm doing well. What about yourself?
I am fine, thank you. And of course, we want to know a little bit about who Bussell is. So can you tell our listeners who you are?
I am an essential worker. I work for the post office. I am a business owner. I'm a mother of 2 lovely boys, a wife, and a self-published children's book author.
Perfect. All right. Now, what made you choose writing in the first place? Because I noticed you've been a recent author, and we just want to know a little bit about why you chose writing.
Well, it's a funny story, actually. I've always been a servant to the community, and I've always did mentorships. I would read to elementary students when I was younger. I would coach, do after-school programs, and that's just a passion and a love that I had for a young age. I, during the pandemic, decided to write the book as a motivator for my children, to give them some light. The book was actually from a nickname that my husband gave to the children when they were toddlers. It was Cherry, Larry, Jerry, those type of things. It was just rhyming songs, and the kids would always laugh. And as the children grew up, so did the Cherry Larry's phrase. So instead of saying stop whining, we would say, we don't want to be cryberries. Mm-hmm. Or if we were illustrating right from wrong, we would say, we don't want to be bad berries, that type of thing. And I knew, during and, what the world is today, that our family wasn't the only one going through what we were going through. So I wanted to kind of shed light and be a motivator and, encourage kids to ignite the super within. That's kind of why I made them superheroes. And our family has always been an advocate for children's literacy. So I do always have super words, I like to say, inside of the book. And that's why the characters are fruits and vegetables too. My husband, before he went to the service, he was actually a personal trainer. So, we like to promote healthy on the inside and out.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Crystal. Now let's get to the book. What's the name of the book? And tell us about the idea of the book, as in what's the book about?
The Cherry Larry's versus Poison Berry is the name of the first book. And the book is about two brothers who has a mentor that they look up to. He kind of took them under his wing. He's a scientist. And he starts to do some things that, were kind of wrong. And they, kids know right from wrong. And the things that he was doing, it was potentially putting other people in harm. And so they had a choice to make. Do they sit there and, go with the flow to try to appease who their mentor is, someone they look up to, or do they do the right thing and, follow their heart and stand up for what they believe in?
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I love the cover where you have these two guys, well, three of them, and the little one in the middle as if he's making fun of them. It's so funny. It's like you want to jump on this book and read it. But tell us about the illustrator. Who is the illustrator behind this beautiful work that you have with all these awesome illustrations?
The illustrator is Art Lewinnie. He's actually done work for Disney, Nickelodeon, Pixar. He's done Rugrats, Sonic. He's been around for a while, and he's awesome. I love him. Our relationship is so awesome. He gets out the vision, I guess, that I'm trying to put out there.
Beautiful.
And it's something that I wanted to do. And if I figured if I'm going to do it, I want to do it wholeheartedly.
Right.
And,
Definitely. To the best of your ability. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And you're so right, because I think that especially with children, you have to be very creative, and for you to get the best man for the job, I think it was worth it. And I believe that your book will be a very good impact on many, because you use your family's testimony as the inspiration behind it. And we just want to thank you for that, Mrs. Bussell. Now let's get to the price of this beautiful work. If persons want to purchase it, what's the cost, and where can we find you for this book?
The cost of a hardcover book is $17.99. On my website, I sell it for $15. The softcover, which is the paperback version, is $9.99. You can find that on my website as well. And on Amazon, my website is busspubpresents.com. And if you guys do enjoy the book and are aligned with our movement, I would, ask you guys to kind of follow us on social media. You can find us at Cherry Larry Adventures.
Awesome. Cherry Larry Adventures. Perfect. Now, one last thing before you go. Who do you want to acknowledge for all this beautiful work that you have been doing within the past few years?
I would like to acknowledge my family as my motivator and inspiration. All the kids out there who are super readers, of course, my illustrator, you for allowing me to be on your show.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job. All right. We want to hear it and we want to see it. And maybe later on, you can even turn this beautiful work into a movie because of how impacting and how catchy your illustrations are. So, shout outs to you guys over there. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our very own book author. She was here to share her lovely work with you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Bussell. Continue to have yourself a wonderful day, and we're looking forward to hear some more of you in the coming future.
Thank you, Miss Tracey. You as well.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Are you looking for a place to stay when you are in Jamaica? Well, look no more. It's the ultimate freedom bed and breakfast. Beagles Drive, Brighton, Santa Cruz. Come along, I make we have some nice time tonight. It's the place that offers somewhere to stay with a difference. You wake up in the morning with the smell of our Jamaican style breakfast. Single occupancy, $65, double $85, and 3 people, just $110. Call us today, 416-301-2698, 1-876-997-6589, 1-876-840-5144, or visit our website, ultimatefreedombnb.com, or email us at ultimatefreedomjamaica@gmail.com. It's the ultimate freedom bed and breakfast. Beagles Drive, Brighton, Santa Cruz, Jamaica. It's the place that customers come first. Come along.
We are in our Child's Month workshop series, and indeed, you know, in Jamaica, Child's Month is all about our young people, our children, our future. And today we have a wonderful guest for you. This individual is indeed a book author. He is he has this awesome book, and this book thrills me because of the impact that it already has on just looking at it. I'm talking about our very own writer and author, Mr. Cooper, over there in USA. He is indeed the author for this recent release, and we welcome you, Mr. Cooper. How are you doing today? Welcome to the Lady Tracey Show.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Can you just tell us, your listeners, yes, indeed, it's a privilege to have you. Can you just tell us, your listeners, a little bit about who you are?
I'm a family engagement specialist, millennial trauma expert. I'm an author of A Young Man's Cry. I'm an author of Every Family Has a Story. I'm a founder of Young Men Becoming Men Incorporated Youth Mentor Organization. I mentor youth boys between the ages of 10 to 17.
Wow, I believe you're in a perfect spot, sir, because you don't know how much it is in need of for young men to have persons to really guide them in today's society. Being a family engagement specialist is something which is quite unique, quite rare, and I believe that your testimony has a lot to do with it. But before we go to that beautiful book, can you just tell us a little bit about Young Men Becoming Men, that organization that you have going on there?
Yes, Young Men Becoming Men can communicate effectively. When you're little and you fall down, we're told to not cry. So that cuts off our emotions. So that cuts off our freedom of expression. So we create our own sense of toughness. We look and search for things that people need to be a part of because we don't know how to be accepted through effective communication.
Wow, that is true. You have a strong point. And can you tell us a little bit about the goal behind this organization and what exactly does it do?
The goal behind the organization is helping young men become better young men through their community, in school, and to be entrepreneurs and to be better men, fathers, and sons.
Wow.
The goal is to help them overcome their traumas, overcome their fears.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And if persons want to reach you, how is it that they can contact you with this awesome organization that you have going on right now for our young people?
My email address is robertcooper@youngmenbecomingmen.org.
Okay, awesome. Now let's get to that book. Every family has a story. 6 steps to rebuilding a better you. Can you tell us the inspiration behind it? What made you write it, and what is it about?
The inspiration of me writing Every Family Has a Story is me growing up as a young man, being able to be in a house with my family, and we didn't know how to communicate and express ourselves effectively. So we was able to look at each other different because we didn't know how to tell each other we love us or apologize for the wrong that we did. Or we found ways to beat each other down because we didn't know how to communicate our love and express our love.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Cooper. And is there a specific chapter or something that you just want to share with us that you think will be a very good impact on our listeners today?
Yes. Chapter 2 of the book. Says, because you cannot just leave your family or escape.
Okay.
4 ways to cope with verbal abuse. Remember, your abuser does not have authority of who you are as a person. Spend time with others who love you and will build you up. Compliment yourself and practice self-care.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. And would you say this is one of our most needed thing to focus on in society today, meaning it's something that is well needed today in society?
It is, because society as well beats us down as well. We get beat down inside our homes. So society shows us an image that we should be like, who we should think like, how we should dress, how we should walk. And at times we lose ourselves in that. We don't get a chance to find out who we are. We don't get a chance to love ourselves because we're trying to make ourselves fit in or fit that mold.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Could you give one advice to our young man today, or fathers, let's say, because, you know, it all goes back to the father not being present oftentimes in the lives of our young people that maybe shape them into what they are today. But could you just give one advice towards this?
Yes. For the young man, you have to be able to forgive your father, because he didn't have a male presence, so he doesn't know how. He wasn't properly instructed to have the principles to be able to raise his son, to be able to guide his son. And the father has to be able to forgive himself for still holding on to the trauma that he has carried over.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mr. Cooper. One last thing before you go. If persons want to purchase your book, you did give us your website. What's the cost for this book? Every Family Has a Story.
It's $25, and it's paypal.me/G, capital G, capital O, capital A, capital T, capital T, 23.
Perfect. Do you have any goals or vision for this awesome work that you have just released for the near future?
Yes, to be able to go out and to speak to families with my curriculum, my structured curriculum, to help them be able to destroy the cycles, overcome and build positive relationships, positive mindsets, and build family bonds.
Awesome, Mr. Cooper. And who would you like to acknowledge for all this wonderful work that you have been on, the journey, the path, and everything that comes with it? Who would you like to acknowledge for this work?
I would like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to be able to overcome those traumas that I had and those trials that I had.
Thank you so much. So there you have it, listeners. Mr. Robert Cooper, our family engagement specialist or author and entrepreneur over there in Philadelphia, USA. He is also the founder of Young Men Becoming Men. And indeed, you know where to find him. So thank you for being with us, sir. Continue to have yourself a wonderful day and keep doing the good job that you're doing, because you know that you're on a good path for our young people.
Very much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate it. I'm very honored to be on your show.
Watch this one you walk from dusk till dawn.
Don't you see that Sahara and Corona gone? Why don't you go to Script of Virtue and order yourself a book? Get yourself a journal, no man. Or even get a book for your children. Their number is 876-367-7413. Or you can go to their business site at scriptofvirtue.business.site. Shaman!
Founder and a business owner of The Right Perspective LLC. He is also a graduate of University of Texas at Dallas with a bachelor in speech language pathology and development. I'm talking about the man Aaron Fields. Mr. Fields is here with us today, and we want to hear a little bit about his work and also the inspiration behind this beautiful book that he has going on viral, Never Doubt Yourself. So welcome, Mr. Fields. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I greatly appreciate you inviting me on. It's definitely an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. How is Texas going in this timing?
It's not too bad, but I'm sure you kind of hear the old saying about the Texas weather. You know, 1 minute it's snowing, and then the next day it's bright and sunny, and then the very next day it's raining and it's cloudy. So when it comes to Texas, you really never know what you're going to get.
Are you serious? I didn't know there was snow in Texas. Thank you for that information. I did not know. All right. So now let's hear about Mr. Fields. Who is Aaron Fields?
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's a really good question. I'm not really a big proponent on really saying much about myself, but usually, really to sum it all up, I usually just kind of start off by telling a little bit about myself when it comes to understanding myself. Of course, I reside in Dallas, Texas, but I definitely grew up in a place called Baytown, which is a little bit south of Houston. And really just growing up as a kid, always moving back and forth. My family and I were going back and forth from Dallas to Houston. Of course, when it comes to staying with family and things like that. But after a while, it got to the point where we moved so many times, we all decided as a family, okay, we've moved several times back and forth from Dallas to Baytown. Let's just go ahead and just pick one city we can just stay in for quite a bit of time. And we eventually just decided to stick with Dallas. And of course, during my 8th grade year of Dallas, that was where I finished up middle school, and I went to high school as well. And once I finished up high school, it ultimately led to college. But when it comes to myself and my family, I tell people all the time I'm very blessed and extremely fortunate to grow up with the family that I was born into. Of course, having both a wonderful mother and a wonderful father, and just growing up in a 2-parent household, which is something you don't see very often, unfortunately. So I consider myself very blessed and lucky for that part. And then also, just to make things more interesting, I was very fortunate to grow up with grandparents, as well as my nana, my grandfathers on both sides of the family. And then also, to make things even more interesting, I was very fortunate to have an older brother by the name of Norman. And then, of course, there's myself as a middle child, and very fortunate to have a younger brother by the name of Chad. And then also, we're very fortunate to have a younger sister by the name of Victoria. So really, to sum it all up, the family, we're extremely close. We talk to each other all the time. We're always with each other. And I'm a big proponent of family is everything. And our family atmosphere is so strong. It's gotten to the point now where we're real strong and close with our cousins as well. So to me, it feels like another set of siblings. So I think when it comes to my upbringing, it leads to just kind of who I am as a person. So of course, I can go all day with my family and things like that, but very blessed and fortunate to grow up in the environment that I grew up in.
Thank you, Aaron. I believe that's a great example for our society today, and you are on a great path. You know, you guys doing such a good work from the home. I mean, that's the whole idea of helping others, especially children, right? Especially the inner city, the juvenile facility. Thank you for sharing. And I would assume that with your mobilization, this led you to support schools and prisons and, you know, everywhere while you're traveling, right?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely correct.
Good. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your work as what would you say now? A outreach advocate?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yeah, definitely. So really, and you kind of hit the nail on the coffin. You're right on point when you said a lot of it stems from my upbringing and my family. And like I said, with me being very blessed and fortunate to grow up with a strong family that I grew up in, it was able to lead to me becoming a better individual in every aspect of my life, because my family was able to help and teach me many different principles and values that will help me as an individual. And one thing that I've noticed growing up around my peers, unfortunately, they didn't have the things that I had. For example, growing up in a 2-parent household, as well as from a man's standpoint, some of them not growing up with fathers as well, too. I was very lucky to have a father. Ultimately, I noticed that a lot of my peers didn't have some of those things that I had. So that led to me already kind of brainstorming and just thinking, what is it that is missing? Now, even though I noticed it at a young age, I couldn't put my finger quite on it yet, because I was still in the process of figuring that out. But of course, as I got older, once we realized, when people act a certain way, whenever they do certain things, or there are certain beliefs and philosophies on a number of things, I realized that a lot of this stems from their upbringing and just some of the things that they were taught, as well as some of the things that they weren't taught. And ultimately, that led to me creating that business, the right perspective when it comes to me writing books and doing outreach and doing public speaking events. Because one thing that I realized is that, in life, we're we're good at teaching people how to do like science experiments. We're good at teaching people how to drive a car. We're good at teaching people how to do like operations and stuff like that. But I noticed that when it comes to the basic components or the basic concepts of life, a lot of us don't really know the answers to those things.
That's
and
true.
Over the years, yes, ma'am, definitely. And over the years, I've seen a number of people ask other people about basic concepts of life, like, how do you manage time? But a lot of people didn't know the answer to that because they themselves, they didn't know how to manage time. Or maybe when someone is talking about how to maintain a healthy relationship or how to budget, a lot of people are speechless because they themselves, they don't know how to budget, or they don't know how to maintain healthy relationships. So after a while, I realized a lot of people were asking these different types of questions because they just weren't taught anything. And you know how that goes.
That's right.
Yeah, at some point, whenever people are not, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what I'm saying is at the end of the day, relationship is important, right? And you have to first build relationship with others in order to grow. So what you're saying is exactly right. But quickly, Aaron, do you have a actual testimony, or have you ever find it difficult in dealing with juvenile facilities and prisons as a mentor or outreach advocate?
That's a good question. So yes and no. And I will say it's fairly easy making a connection with the kids that are in the juvenile facility, because making that strong connection is very helpful. And, kids are very smart. If they see someone who's really trying to help them and they're authentic, then it's easy for them to bring that mentor in to help them out with certain things. So that was never really an issue with me. The main issue was just really maybe perhaps getting other people on board, or maybe working with other people, especially when it comes to adults, who often when you're working with kids and you start hearing about some of the personal issues that they have with their families or anyone that's in their environment, that's something you got to help them overcome as well. So when it comes to me making that connection, it's not really much of an issue. The major issue that I usually have is just whatever kind of issues that kid is going through, and just helping him or her overcome those things.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Aaron. All right, now let's get to the book because we only have a few more time to go.
Okay.
That beautiful book with that lovely chocolate color boy on the cover, Never Doubt Yourself. Can you just tell us about this awesome book?
Oh, yes, ma'am, most definitely. So it's definitely a children's book. And then, of course, really what stemmed from me making this book is that I realized that whenever you're working with kids, there's a lot of young kids that are very gifted, very talented, extremely smart and intelligent. But unfortunately, a lot of them start to doubt themselves whenever they hit a few stumbling blocks in life. And of course, hitting stumbling blocks in life, that's definitely normal for everyone. And I tell kids all the time, you should never doubt yourself, no matter the situation. Now, of course, you don't want to be arrogant about it or look down on others, but you should definitely never doubt yourself, no matter how hard the situation is.
Wow.
I think it's always good for a child to overcome any trials, tribulations, or any level of travail in their life, so that way they can be able to proceed.
Wow. I have one confession, Aaron. When I was looking at your work, I was like, I think this man is talking to me. Because I mean, I'm not a child, but at the same time, I could just, sense that this was a positive, title, and it really would reach out to anyone. And I think that you really did a great job in answering this call, in, helping children to get their self positively motivated in whatever they're doing. So if persons want to get Never Doubt Yourself, where can they go and what's the price for this beautiful children book?
Yes, ma'am. So you can definitely get the book at twperspective.com. You can always definitely Google it because that's my website. And it has a list of many other book collections, but it's definitely on there. And of course, you can get it. I have it right now priced at $6.50, of course, plus the tax. So that's going to end up being around $10 to $11. But it's definitely a good book to invest in. So that way you can be able to read to children. And whoever's reading that book to children, they themselves as the adult can be able to learn those things from this book as well. So it's definitely a good book to get.
Awesome. Now, one thing before you go, Aaron, I want you to just give a advice to our young readers or listeners or anyone that's going through a rough time today. Before you go, just give a few advice for us.
Oh, most definitely. So one thing that I'll say to the audience is that, in life, there's always going to be issues and some of us you're going to face in life. But I tell people all the time, as long as you're able to create a vision and just see things all the way through, life is definitely going to get a lot better for you. I just tell people all the time, just develop a healthy perspective and always try to look at the positive side for everything that you're doing, even though there's going to be stumble blocks and issues that you'll go through. But stay the course. Continue to have faith and always have confidence in yourself. And I think you'll be just fine.
So there you have it, listeners. Mr. Aaron Fields over there in Texas, Dallas, Texas, or author or early childhood consultant or educator, and of course, our speaker. Mr. Fields was with us to share his beautiful book on our platform. You know where to find him, so don't forget to reach out. This is the Lady Tracey Show. Don't go anywhere. More to come after these messages.
Hello world, it's your psalmist Shavannah Chambers from out of Portmore, Jamaica, representing for Lady Tracey. So Holy Spirit got a hold on me, and I'm sure it got a hold on you. Woman of God, continue to keep up the good work for the Lord. You are blessed. You are blessed and highly favored. A money magnet and more, full of power, full of virtue for the work of God. And so may the Lord, the joy of the Lord is your strength, and may He continue to bless, to keep, and to prosper you in all your way. Hallelujah. Let the Lord be magnified. Let He enlarge your territory as how He did with Jabez. Hallelujah. I said we serve a mighty God. And so I thank God for your life. I thank God for your ministry, and also for the soul that you have been blessing the people of God with. Continue to keep up the good work, my sister. Much love. Walk good. And continue to be that beacon that wins souls for the kingdom of God. God bless you in abundance. Amen and amen.
Today is indeed a special day. Why? Because we have a wonderful guest out of USA. This person was born and raised in Canton. She then moved to Houston, Texas. And of course, she is the founder of AM Greene Enterprises, LLC. We're talking about no other than the lady April Greene. April is an awesome best-selling author. She is indeed also a single mother. And let's see what else. So we welcome you, Miss Greene. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fine and excited at the same time. I notice where you have these beautiful prayer books going viral on social media, and I'm excited because it has a difference to it. It's not like the others I've always seen. But before we get to the book, can you tell us a little bit more about who April Greene is?
Yes, so I'm 33 years old. I'm a mother of a teenage daughter. I'm originally from Canton, Mississippi, but moved to Houston, Texas, August of 2017. I'm a lover of God, and I will not rest until the vision God gave me is fulfilled. I'm a child care specialist, interior decorator. I'm a 2 times best-selling author of my books, Prayers for the Boss Babes, Volume 1 and 2, and I'm an author of Ladies in Waiting, 6 Fix Your Crown.
Wow, I'm just excited to hear about these work because they're all focused on women nowadays. I mean, this is well needed, and I think that you have a great target. But before we go there, can you just tell us a little bit about your balancing skill as a single mom and as an author or entrepreneur per se?
Okay, at first, I didn't have any balance. It wasn't until the pandemic where I realized I needed to create some type of boundary and a schedule to better and fully give each area of my life attention.
Wow, that's good. I mean, every mom wants to hear this secret because it's not an easy task, especially when you're now climbing the ladder of being a bestseller. Now, let's get to the business. Greene Enterprise. What's this business about, and what is its nature?
I'm the owner and founder of Greene Enterprise LLC, and under that umbrella, I have home away from home child care, night care. I have AMG interior decorating, and I am also the author of my latest books. Under that, it was founded last August of 2020, and I'm just in this place now where I'm fully walking into my purpose that God has blessed me with, and with that, that's how Greene Enterprise came about, and so I'm super excited for what's to come.
Wow. And let me say before I go any further that your name, April, is indeed my smaller sister's name. So when I saw you, I'm like, oh, I have to get her on my show. So I think the creativity is kind of there from start. You have all these good things going on. You're a decorator, you're a consultant, you're an author, you're a mom. Wow. I think that, for you to have all these qualities, your books must be very inspiring. Now, let me ask, why did you choose writing in the first place? What made you choose this path of all the other paths that you could have chosen?
God did it. Writing chose me. I never thought I would be an author, but the experience has healed me in so many areas.
Wow, that's beautiful. All right. And would you say that your books portray your personality, being a praying woman, a boss babe, a lady in waiting? Would you say these books portrays your personality or your character?
Absolutely. My books bring out the vulnerability side of me. I'm a very private person, so to see what I went through in a book still amazed me to today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Miss Greene. Now, Ladies in Waiting is your last book. It is basically the one that persons need to get now. Apart from the fact that, it's probably talking to women who are, have been in a waiting place for a very long time. How can it help women in today's society just by reading this book? What value will it give to their lives?
Yes, Ladies in Waiting can help women in today's society by helping to adjust their crown, letting them know that they are valuable and that God sees them as royalty.
Beautiful. Would you say it's kind of like an Esther period or a Rachel period?
I would definitely say the Esther. I remember when I was writing it, the Lord just kind of gave me a vision of Esther, how she prepared and how she was in position to be presented to the king and to intercede for her nation. And so I do believe that it will speak to the Esther in each woman that reads this book.
Wow. The funny thing is we just had a client who was on the same topic. She had, the same concept of, waiting and being in that Esther shoe. And I am kind of thinking it's that season where women have been waiting. I don't think it's probably because of the corona, but because of the plan that God has towards them. And I'm excited to read this book. I can't wait to have my copy. And thank you again for that beautiful offer. Now, lastly, Miss Greene, where can person go to get your book, and what's the cost for this book?
Okay, to purchase my books, they can go to my website at aprilmgreen.com. Ladies and Ladies Sis Fix Your Crown. It's $25, and that includes free shipping and handling. And then they can also do the ebook, which is the Kindle version, and it's $9.99.
Beautiful. And this applies to the other ones as well?
The other ones, Prayers for the Boss Babe, Volume 1 and 2, they are $27 each, and they also are there on the website.
Beautiful. And these are your bestsellers, right?
Yes.
So I would advise everyone to go and get a copy in Being a Boss Babe. I think that this will inspire entrepreneur women who have been out there, trying to make ends meet, trying to provide for their family, and also being a praying woman while doing it.
Yes.
So good job with this awesome idea. Do you have any plans for the near future, April?
Yes, I have so many great things in store. So I would advise people to join my mailing list, and they'll never miss an update. And they can also subscribe at my website at aprilmgreen.com.
Awesome. There you go. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the lady April Greene over there in Texas. She was here today to share her awesome books and, of course, the title of being a bestseller. And she was here to also tell us a little bit about herself. So we're glad you did, April, and we're looking forward to hear some more of you in your future.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you as well.
Want to learn to play music with a revolutionary musical experience? K-Don Music Academy offers online and face-to-face lessons for piano, guitar, drum set, violin, viola, cello, voice, saxophone, trumpet, flute, and music theory. Call 876-442-2721. That's 876-442-2721. Visit our Facebook page at K-Don Music Academy and follow us on Instagram at K-Don Music Academy 1. Experience the power of music. K-Don, K-Don Music Academy. Register now.
Promised we have a wonderful dynamic woman today. She is indeed a 41 times international award winner. Yes. And of course, this includes the Special Recognition Champion Award from Conquering Disabilities with Film Festival as a published author of the Queen Vernita's educational series. Her works include the 6 Federal Individual Education Plan goals and the effectiveness of her implementation in preparing for transition. I'm talking about Dr. Dawn Menge. Dr. Dawn Menge has been teaching severely handicapped students for 16 years, and she is here today to share with us. We welcome you, Dr. Dawn Menge. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. How are you?
I am excited about your presence and, of course, this awesome, impacting fact of being a best-selling author multiple times. We want to hear more of you. Tell us, who is Dawn Menge? Apart from all this beautiful qualities and status, who is Dawn Menge?
Well, I'm the mother of 3 very wonderful children who are grown, and they have their own children and their own homes. And I'm going to have my 6th grandbaby in July, so I'm super excited. And all of my Queen Vernita series are based on our traveling together as a family. So that is basically who we are.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. I noticed that you have a PhD in education. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
I have a PhD in curriculum instruction. My dissertation was written on the federal standards for our students. I have actually been teaching students with severe cognitive delays for over 20 years now. So I've been doing it a very, very long time, and I really enjoy it. And I also work with the State Department for California, helping develop test questions and analyzing the test questions for our students for our standardized tests.
Wow, you have been such impacting to the state of, California. And I am thankful for your testimony. This is supporting us in helping us to know that there's still some superwoman out there battling for children in the middle of our corona crisis. But Mrs. Menge, do you want to tell us what made you choose the area that you chose in special education?
My mom was a kindergarten teacher for over 20 years. And when I decided to go back to college, I had 2 little girls. And so I would take a class called the co-op class, and I would get credit for volunteering in her classroom. And so I would take my little girls in there and we'd work. And I actually was in labor with my son, my 3rd child, in her classroom. So I have a lot of educational background with my family, and it just kind of went from there. I actually thought, well, I'm going to be a preschool teacher. And then I became an aide in a special needs classroom. And I did that for about 2.5 years, worked on my bachelor's, and then got my own classroom. And it just went from there. I was very lucky. I was able to keep the same students and go from the junior high to the high school. And then our students stayed till their 22nd year. So we had an adult center in the community where my students learned to work and to bank and to ride the city bus. And I had the same students and the same assistants all the way through. So we got to do a lot of really, really wonderful things. We had a little business of our own, so we could go on lots of trips. I got grants. I got a grant to teach my students how to snow ski. They earned their own money, and we went to SeaWorld and went swimming with the dolphins. And they went to the college and took the restaurant class at the college. So we just had a really wonderful time. And I don't really know how I got into special education, except that I started as an assistant, and it just went from there.
Wow, you were perfect for it. I believe you were, it was faith. Now let's get to your books. The 6th Federal Individual Education Plan Goals. Right, can you just tell us a little bit about what this is about?
Well, those are a reference to my students, and now we have only 4. But when I wrote my dissertation, there were 6. Those are our transition goals. So those are the goals we work on from 18 to our 22nd birthday, and it helps them become community-minded, and they're able to get jobs and ride city buses, because when they leave public education, they transition into adult life.
Wow.
And they get to go to programs where it dependent on their level, they could, work in the community full-time or part-time, or they do lots of things. So that's the transition goals, that we make sure that we're teaching them how to have life skills, so they can have life. But in my books, I've included several of my students. I have disabilities in them, and the Queen Vernita Conquers the Volcanic Islands is one I wrote in 2019, and it's on Kona, the Hawaii, and it has autism and Rett syndrome. And then I have one that I wrote with my little brother. He's an astronomer at JPL up here, and it's called Queen Vernita Meets Sir Heathy Bean the Astronomer, and he teaches the Queen and all of her friends about astronomy. And he wanted, when he was little, I called him Heathy Bean. His name is Heath, and so he Heathy Bean, and he has the wild hair and the bunny slippers. And that book has Down syndrome and cerebral palsy. And I have a book on Hawaii called Queen Vernita Visits the Islands of Enchantment, and that book has visual impairments, and it has a deaf child. So I've incorporated disabilities within my books, and my books are based on a year. So the Queen spends a year in an area. So every month is a new friend and a new subject. And then you learn 7 skills about that subject, 7 facts. So that's how they're all formatted.
Wow, you mentioned something that your books focus on transition, and this has been a very critical thing for our youths. It's our Child's Month, and we're focusing on our children in Jamaica. And one of my main question is, why are there so much unemployment in our young people? And I think that your book would have been a very good support for parents to focus on this area, because they're always saying, okay, they have to go to school, but after school, what? And this awesome work that you are doing is exactly what is needed to remind them that children will be transitioned to adulthood. Thank you so much for that, Mrs. Menge. Now, where can we go to get these products if person want to order your book?
I have a website, Dr. Dawn Menge. They're on my publisher site, Rushmore Press. I have a Facebook. It's Dawn Menge 1, and you can just DM me, and if you want author signed copies. And then I also have an Instagram and a Twitter. So any way you want to contact me, if you want to buy them straight from me, and it's just, they're $12 plus shipping, and then I will sign them to whomever you would like. And you can find them all over. You just Google them. They're on Barnes and Noble, and they're all Waterstone. They're all over the place. So
wow. So if persons want to reach you for speaking engagement to empower our young people with these magical ideas, how are you open for this?
You can email me, queenvernitasvisitors@yahoo.com, or dawnmenge@hotmail.com. And but I just want to clarify, the books themselves, they're children's books, and they're pre-K to 6th, 7th grade, and they're based on different areas. I have one on Alaska, one on astronomy, one on New Orleans. But the books themselves are educationally based on the areas. Like the Alaska one, we talk about glaciers and kayaking. And so the transition that we're talking about is actually what I do as a teacher, and they aren't connected to the books themselves, but they are my expertise. So there's two different things that are getting combined.
Okay, so I am lucky to have you on my show today, because maybe I will get you back to speak to our Jamaican people.
Oh my God, that would be wonderful.
Your idea is so unique and it's so needed, because, as I said before, you really did something that's very unique. I know it's the strength and the idea of God, but I believe that your obedience really allow us to know that there are other things to stay focused on as parents for our youths. All right. Now, one last thing before you go, Dr. Menge, I know I've had you very long, but is there anyone that you would like to acknowledge for all these awesome support that you have been getting throughout the journey?
Well, the series is named after my grandmother, Vernita, and my mom has always been, she travels with me to the book signings, and I have some wonderful friends that are always right behind me, and of course my family, who allows me to put them in my books. And I've been to Jamaica, and so I know just a week's worth of information about Jamaica.
You never know. It's the least time that really works the most. You'd be surprised.
And I did actually, our guide told us a lot about like the school systems and the children and all of that. And so she actually was saying the same things you're kind of saying. So just have a snippet of information about that. So yes, if you'd ever like me back for anything, that'd be wonderful.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's look into it. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Dawn Menge, our PhD educator and, of course, author. She is also a multi-awarded best-selling author. And she was here today to share with us our beautiful journey as a humanitarian in the state of California. So thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Menge. Continue to have a wonderful day. And it was a pleasure having you with us on the Lady Tracey Show.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Watch this when you walk from dusk till dawn. Don't you see that Sahara and Corona gone? Why don't you go to Script of Virtue and order yourself a book? Get yourself a journal, no man, or even get a book for your children. Their number is 876-367-7413, or you can go to their business site at scriptofvirtue.business.site. Shaman.
Today, a very interesting author. I'm talking about the man Crhistian Richards. Crhistian is a choreographer. He is a teacher and a author. Crhistian is indeed from USA. After he was in the USVI, that's the United States Virgin Islands, where he had some awesome encounters as an individual. He also grew up dancing to live music in the islands practically every single day as a ballet dancer. And of course, now he is a choreographer and a author. So we welcome Crhistian Richards to the Lady Tracey Show. How are you doing, Crhistian?
I'm doing good, Lady Tracey. Thank you so much for having me on.
It is my pleasure. When I look at your bio, I am amazed by the things that I saw, which now makes me want to ask. Tell us a little bit about who Crhistian Richards is.
Well, I've had an interesting life for sure. I'm turning 50 this year, which is a big deal. When I was 27, I had a life-threatening illness, and doctors told me that I wouldn't hit 30. Wow. So I love my birthdays. So every time my birthday comes up, I'm like a little kid. So beautiful. I'm going to celebrate 50 big. Awesome. But yeah, I'm in Virginia now. Just moved here last year. I'm teaching some, but I've been really focusing on working on the book. I'm working on a series of books because the order is just the first of 3. I love meeting people. I love going out traveling. I love dancing. I cannot wait for the pandemic to be over so I can go dancing again and hang out with new folks. I love interacting. And this area I live in now is a big historical area for the United States, so it's been kind of fun. Traveling and finding out new stuff around here. I've got 2 cats, 2 crazy cats, Miss S'mores and Mr. Scooby. They keep me active. And other than that, just been working hard on getting the second book going.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Crhistian. Now I want to know about that experience you had in USVI, United States Virgin Islands. Tell us about that time when you first got there, and all the things that you actually encountered.
Well, certainly. My dad, who was known affectionately as Captain Mel, was, I describe him as an adult cartoon. He's kind of like Popeye, but the adult version. He was a certified captain. He ended up being an international tugboat captain, and he was just this wild guy who took us all over the place. And we had a lot of really unique experiences because of him. He would sit at the bar and talk to people and become their best friends, and then we get to do cool things because of it. I got to go and hang on the Nimitz, the aircraft carrier, for the entire day when I was 12 years old. I got to sit in the captain's chair, put his hat on, got to sit in an F-14 fighter on the deck. I got to stick my head inside the cannon of the Ohio battleship. I swam with about a 25-foot ray. We got escorted by whales for 2 days up the coast of California. And all these things were because my dad was just this kind of tornado. So I got to do a lot of really cool stuff. I actually associate, I've moved so much. I associate my growing up, my personality, with the Virgin Islands. The love of music, all the different cultures. When you're in the islands, right, and everybody comes to the islands, right, so you get to meet people from all over the world. And I think I really got my wide open perspective of life and people, and my eagerness to meet people and find out about new cultures because of my time in the islands.
Wow, that is exciting. You made me want to go and visit.
I know, I want to go back.
Oh my gosh, you made me want to go and visit Crhistian. All right, now let's get to the talent of Crhistian. I notice he's an awesome ballet dancer, which is quite unique for a male. You know, ballet is often known for the woman with the perfect feet. But
right.
Let's get to that part. What drove you to being a ballet dancer?
Well, you know what's funny? I actually didn't start ballet until I was 20, which is super, super late. But when I was in the Virgin Islands, my dad had this friend who was a lawyer, and he asked me, he said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I don't know why to this day, but I said I want to be a professional ballet dancer. And I don't even know if I'd seen any at that point. And he laughed at me and said, it's too late. Well, 8 years later, I started, and I was a professional dancer for 10 years. And then when I retired, I got my master's in fine arts from Southern Methodist University in Dallas, and I started teaching choreography and directing. I ran a collegiate dance program in Baltimore, community college Baltimore County, and we became nationally accredited, which was the first community college to ever do so. Ran my own company in Seattle, and it basically was my whole life for a really long time. And the elegance of it, the just sheer beauty of it, it's like race cars for humans. You know, it's like the best that a human can be physically is a top level ballet dancer, and it's just so beautiful to watch and as a teacher to help guide and get them to that point.
Wow, you prove them wrong, Crhistian, and you just give me this idea that the best encouragement a person need is a psychology encouragement. You already thought about it, that you would be good at it. You went ahead, you encouraged yourself, and you needed nothing to stop you. Good job. Do you think?
I'm stubborn.
You just have put your heart to it. Do you think that ballet is a least appreciated talent these days? I mean, do you think people really don't appreciate this gift?
Well, in the United States, for sure. And it's something that I've fought against my whole career. And I have friends who are in Europe, European dancers, Eastern European dancers, and they're like, they get subsidized by the government, they get retirement plans, they get benefits, they get all this stuff, and have such value. But unfortunately, in the United States, if you can't measure it by the dollar value, then people think it doesn't have worth. Yeah. And that is that is incorrect. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Everybody's about the money. Right. Now, this leads me to ask you, Crhistian, at the age of 40, something crucial happened to you, and this hindered this beautiful passion that you had to dance. Tell us about that. Well, yeah, I developed a neuropathy in my leg. So basically what that means is my nerves started firing wrong. So basically my mid thigh down, I would be walking or teaching or doing something, and it would just be the most horrendous pain. It's basically kind of like standing in a fire.
Wow.
Just straight burning. And I have a high pain tolerance. All dancers have high pain tolerances, but it was ridiculous. I'd be just sweating and tears streaking down my face, and I'd be walking like 100, 200 feet. And it developed quickly, and so I wasn't able to teach. I went through a really bad depression because, I associated my whole life with being that dancer, that teacher, that choreographer, right? And I was told I'd probably never get to do it again.
Right.
So, and it's rough when you associate yourself with something, right? So that lasted about 3 years. They kept misdiagnosing me, so I wasn't getting treated. And I moved to California, and I had to move there because I had no place to live. I couldn't work. My mom had a house there, and I found this amazing doctor, Dr. Miles, shout out, who got me my legs back. And then I started being able to dance and teach. And actually, just a cool side story of that, he got me the medicine I needed 3 days after my mom and I were in Oregon, in this place, Ashland, called Lithia Park, beautiful park. And we were walking, and I was being able to walk for the first time in a long time without lots of pain.
Wow.
And there was this guy playing cello live, and he was playing this beautiful music, and I danced to it years before.
Oh my.
And I kicked off my shoes, and I was crying, and I started dancing in the park for the first time in almost 4 years.
Oh.
It was just one of my best days, and he started crying, and he hugged me afterwards, and then, it was fantastic.
Wow.
I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it.
You know, I'm thinking that was a challenge that you were to face from you started this journey, to actually tell yourself that nothing would stop you from your passion. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful you shared it, Crhistian. This is also a therapeutic for anyone who is listening today, to not give up on what they're going through, not give up on life, no matter what they're going through. Now, everyone knows half of Crhistian's life. Let's get to the book, The Order. Okay. What is this book about? And tell us what made you wrote it.
Well, so I actually started writing it when I was disabled, because that was like what started getting me out of my depression, giving me a creative outlet, right? Okay, I finally went, okay, stop being depressed, stop moping around and wasting time. What can you do? And so I've always wanted to write. I used to write tons of stuff when I was like 11 or 12, all based on Dungeons & Dragons fantasy stuff, because that's what I was into then. And so I started writing this book and giving myself a schedule. The series is about basically an overall overview of what I believe controls the world, which are the banking institutions and financial institutions of the world. And I did lots of research, and there's actually 12 companies that control almost all commerce in the world. And they basically kind of puppet master everybody. And, as far as all finances go, they determine inflation, they determine all that stuff. So this is about a young man. His name is Jericho Morgan. He's an MMA fighter. He's up and coming in the ranks, and he gets recruited, or they try to recruit him by this organization called the Order, the evil organization. And they want him to be a bodyguard for them. And he turns them down. Well, they're not used to taking no for an answer. So they kidnap his mother.
Wow, she got shot.
Yeah. So that starts this, fight of going against them, trying to find out more information about them, trying to take them down.
Right.
In that, he finds this guy, Marcus, who is an old Scottish guy, grumpy Scottish guy. And he has also had a big loss because of the Order, and he fights the Order. So they fight together. Well, the Order has connections to alien assistance, basically. So they have this creature called the Assassin, and he's terrifying. And he's an alien hunter-killer. He's unstoppable, and he goes after all enemies of the Order. So they're chased by this thing. So basically the whole first book is them trying to deal with the Assassin chasing them and trying to gather information. The book kind of jumps timelines. It goes from the recent past to the present to the near future, about 20 years in the future.
Where can person get this book if they want to buy it, and what's the cost?
So they can get it at any major online retailer. So it's on iBooks, it's on Barnes & Noble, it's on Amazon. The cost is $3.99 right now. I do run sales on occasion, but they can get it anywhere. And I'm also about halfway through with the second book, so that should be coming out hopefully within the next 3 months or so.
All right. Thank you so much, Crhistian. That was awesome. All right. Now, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our very own book author, choreographer, and he was here to share his beautiful story, his history as a ballet dancer, and also as a author, a choreographer, and all these beautiful stuff. I hope you were encouraged. Thank you so much for being with us, Crhistian. You have been a blessing, and we're looking forward to hear some more of your work. You're most welcome. We're looking forward to hear some more of your work in the coming future.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day now.
You too.
That was some beautiful testimony interviews and of course some discussion for you right here on the Lady Tracey Show. I'm talking about Crystal Bussell, Menge, Hylton, Donnavon, Thomas, Elsie, Tang, Robert Cooper, Aaron Fields, Dawn, Menge, April Greene, and Crhistian Richards. Ladies and this show was sponsored by Script of Verti Collections. If you need your books, planners, journals, or if you need organizers, song blogging, etc., music counseling, find them. Their number is 876-367-7413, or you can visit their website at scriptofverti.business.site. I have been your host for today, Tracey Williams, and this was indeed our Child's Fund 2021 workshop, week 2. Thank you for being with us. On behalf of the entire Unity Live team, continue to have yourself a wonderful day. Walk good now.
Jesus, thank you, Lord, for your spirit. For